Hey guys, Jim here from Quail Hollow Bird Farm. It's been a couple of weeks since we put our eggs into the incubator and they've hatched. And this is part 2 of that video. I wanted to bring you back and show you how our little birds are doing here. We've already taken them out. They've already hatched here about a week and a half ago. And we have 2 different hatches here in the brooder pen. We have one that was from about 2 weeks ago and one that was just from over last weekend. So we've got 2 different groups of birds in here. But what I'm trying to do here is trying to show you that what we've done is actually what I did is we have a whole bunch of birds in our flight pens, and the Tibetan and the Conturnix quail have been laying eggs. So just to kind of keep the supply up and also just to go out and just to kind of run a test to show you folks that you can just go out and pick the eggs up off the ground, wipe them off a little bit, and as long as you keep them for no longer than 7 days and temperatures around 55 to 65 degrees, you don't want it too hot, you don't want it too cold, and around 7 days after you gather enough eggs, put them in your incubator and you can hatch out viable birds. So that's what I was trying to show you here through these last couple of videos that we did. That you can, if you have birds in a pen that are laying eggs, and if you don't already know this now, a lot of you guys are hatching out eggs, you already know how to do this, but for the beginner, you can actually take them eggs, as long as you have a male along with the females, and take them eggs and gather them up. It's best not to keep them more than 7 days. Do not put them in a refrigerator. And you can put them in your incubator and they will hatch. So let's go ahead and I'll show you these birds and explain to you a little bit about their age group and what we got. You can mix. Bob white quail is sometimes difficult. Sometimes the older birds don't like the younger birds mixing with them. That don't happen all the time. We've done it that way and they get along just fine. Put birds in the flight pen that are a little bit younger and they've done fine. But we've also had some issues. But the Tibetan and the Conturnix quail, they all seem to get together in a community and they all seem to gather together, and the age groups don't really matter. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look in the pen. All right, so here's our birds. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up one from the older group first, okay, and show you these birds. They're already starting to get their feather growth on them right now. But this is what we use to raise our birds in. We can probably put 50 to 75 birds in each one of these containers. They're big watering troughs is what they are. And you just put some pine shavings on the bottom. And you got your water, good fresh water all the time, and also you've got your food, and they get along quite well. Okay, so here's one of our newer chicks, okay, and as you can see, he's developing his feathers already. And this bird here is a Conturnix quail, and he's only about, I would say, probably now I'd have to look on the calendar, but he's only just a couple of weeks old right now. They grow quite quickly, okay? These birds actually, 15 to 17 weeks, become fully mature, and they actually start laying eggs. So, they really grow quickly. Now, this little guy here, he just was hatched out not more than, come on, get up in the camera there, take a picture, not more than 2 or 3, I don't want to lose him, not more than 2 or 3 days ago. And he's developed quite well. He's really aware of what's going on, his surroundings. And I'm going to put him back before he gets hurt. But there's 2 different groups of birds in there. You've got one from a couple of weeks ago, and you've also got one from a couple of days ago. And they've acclimated to each other really well. They get along well. The little guys are getting along with the bigger ones. The bigger ones actually protect the little ones somewhat. Each bigger bird kind of gets around and really kind of protects them a little bit. So they're doing really well. Now all I have in here is I have a big piece of glass that I put on top. It's thick glass, about 1/4 inch. And what we have is a 250-watt lamp right here. And it's summertime, so it's about 1.5 feet off from this brooder container. You want to keep the temperature in here for the first week or two in the 90-degree area, so that way they develop really well. You won't have very many bird losses that way. Your chicks will get along good. So I'll be putting this glass back on here, and the glass just helps to maintain the temperature and the humidity in here. What I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for this bigger one to get over here, if he'll come over here, and I can maybe show you his plume a little bit better. Come here, you. He's not going to let me catch him. I wanted to show you his development a little bit more, and so you can get a little bit better idea. There we go. That's not the one. You're the one. Come here. There we go. Of how they're developing as far as their feathers go. There you go. Put your little wings out there so people can see. There you go. So if you can see, get that in the camera, that bird and his wings, you can see that he's developing quite nicely, okay, as far as his wings go. And like I said, this bird's about 2 weeks old. So it was the weekend before last that they hatched. So they develop pretty quickly. All right, so that's it for this part 2 of this video. Part 1 was how to hatch out quail eggs. It was out. I put it out probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that's the continuation. So I just wanted to show you folks out there just starting out. And if you have a couple of quail, I've had a lot of questions about people wanting to know if they can hatch out their quail eggs that their quail are having. And yes, you can, as long as you make sure it's just like a chicken. You got to have a rooster with them, so that way the eggs are fertile. And as long as you do that and you control your incubator parameters really well, the temperature and the humidity, you'll have successful hatches. I think we put in, the first time around, I think it was 38 eggs. We keep track of everything on a calendar. And I'm just guessing. I don't have the calendar in the hatching room with me here. But I think it was like 38 eggs the first experiment that we tried, okay? And we had probably, I think it was around 30 eggs that hatched out, 30 birds. Out of them, we probably lost about 4 or 5 late hatchers. Usually when you have the first birds are usually going to be your strongest ones. The birds that hatch out a day later or behind all the others on the major hatch, the major beginning of the hatch, sometimes them are the weaker birds, and them are the ones that you'll have a few dying off. Them are the ones that will die off. So you just need to understand that. Sometimes it's not really something that you're doing wrong. Sometimes it's just because them were the weaker birds, and there's nothing you can do. They're going to die anyways. But just understand that you're going to have a little bit of loss. But thanks for watching this video. Please like and share this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. And we're going to be doing a lot more videos. It's getting around. We're going to be doing some dog training out there and show you what we do with the birds and things like that. So I'm sure that'll be interesting to a lot of people. So thanks for tuning in. I'm Jim from Quail Hollow Bird Farm, and we'll catch you in the next video.